Welcome to On the Record. I'm the host, Patrick Crowley. I'm also the political writer for the Kentucky Inquirer, and I co-host Northern Kentucky Magazine here on ICN6. Joining us today is a very special guest, Senator Mitch McConnell. Senator, thanks a lot for coming on.
Glad to be with you.
You've been on several times before, and we always appreciate it. Know you're busy. Know you're in the midst of a campaign. Let's get right to it. Talk about the Brent Spence Bridge. What's going to have to happen for that project to be funded? Is the state going to have to take over and come up with the creative financing that's been suggested, or can the federal government pay for that bridge?
Well, there's been a lot of finger pointing back and forth, and I know you've written several pieces about it between federal and state officials. So I think a good place to start is with the facts.
Okay.
The federal government raises a gas tax. It does it and redistributes it to the states. Every 5 or 6 years, we do a federal highway bill that allocates the gas tax on a formula basis to the states. Every 5 or 6 years, there's an opportunity for some minor earmarking of funds. In the 2005 farm bill, Senator Bunning and Congressman Davis took the lead in getting about $36 million in the bill for design and planning and that sort of thing, and Senator Voinovich got $10 million on the Ohio side, so that's $46 million for the design phase. Beyond that, there is not an annual basis to earmark federal funds. Basically, the federal government is the collector of taxes. It sends it down to the state, and they decide how to spend it. The problem that's obviously out there right now for the Brent Spence Bridge, the two bridges in Louisville, and the Henderson Bridge, is you've got a largely rural legislature trying to determine how to allocate the federal gas tax that comes down to them for decision over I think they do a 6-year road plan, don't they, in Frankfurt. And these are massive projects. I mean, we're talking about from $750 million to several billion to do the Brent Spence Bridge. The federal government, the only thing it could do, and even then it wouldn't necessarily go straight to these bridge projects, would be to raise the federal gas tax, which is with gas, with oil at $100 a barrel.
Right.
Realistically, Pat, I think there's not much chance the federal government is going to raise the gas tax, with gas prices being what they are. So those are the facts. Everything that needs to be spent, according to the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet, in these first 2 years is funded through 2009 as a result of the efforts of Senator Voinovich and Senator Bunning and Congressman Davis, who took the lead. Beyond that, this is a solution that's going to have to be crafted at the state and local level. I'm not advocating any particular method of doing it. Candidly, I can't imagine I'm going to vote to increase the federal gas tax with oil at $100 a barrel. There are no easy solutions to this, but those are the facts.
Do you understand, I'm sure you do, the consternation about this bridge that's a federal responsibility, putting it back on the states, which is the way it's being seen in Kentucky? Well,
I just don't think that's accurate. The federal government raises the gas tax, but it sends it down to the states for decisions as to how to spend it. The authority to allocate funding under the federal gas tax is almost entirely at the state level.
Given the magnitude of this project, that is basically the link between North and South in this part of the country, and your position as Senate Republican leader, is there not something you could do to find the money for that, just to put it bluntly?
Well, the only opportunity, and I can't imagine you could get billions of dollars for one location, but the only opportunity would be when there's another highway bill in, I think, 2010. But the notion that I don't care how much influence you have in Congress, that you could get that kind of funds, that amount of money for one project somewhere in the country in the highway bills would, I'm good, but I'm not sure I'm that good.
Do you think we're going to see tolls on that bridge?
I don't know. I really don't. I know that's a frustrating prospect for commuters. You see that all up and down the river, not just here in northern Kentucky, but in other places along the river where you have these massive bridge projects. I'm not necessarily advocating that solution. I think you could make a pretty credible argument to the state legislatures that they really ought to be allocating a greatly disproportionate percentage of their funds to these projects because of the impact of them on the state's economy. The fact that many people from rural Kentucky do traverse these highways like everybody else. That's a heck of a sales job, and that's a challenge, I know, for the state representatives and state senators who happen to be near these projects.